Hi there. Welcome to my new series, Ye Old Indie Dude. That would be me. My name is Jeff Adams. I'm an indie recording artist, producer. You can check out some of my endeavors at jeffadams.info. I put on this little show in order to be encouraging to the people that are out there that might be songwriters or poets or creatives that are endeavoring to do something along those lines with themselves. When I and of course, with my encouragement and that's why I'm here, because it's not easy doing this as a prospect. If you want to be creative, if you are creative, then you know. I've been doing this for around 30 some years. I started performing in 1983. Started really performing quite a lot. Really started getting paid for it and such in the 1990s. I think my first paid gig was 93, and then started doing a lot of playing all over the place. So I started out with live performance, built up a band, splintered into networking with a bunch of other musicians, started doing a lot of recording, broke away for a little family break, family outing, and came back to it with a vengeance in the last decade with 75 performances in the last 8 years, and then of 8 different albums in 8 years, 1 collaborative album, 1 EP, 6 different single releases, all available on everywhere, all the major online retail outlets, etc. Oh yeah. When I go to speak, I wanted to clarify too. I enunciate a little differently sometimes. I hear people talking about that. People adopt accents. I myself have been guilty of that, and I want to tell you too. I live in a different area right now than I have ever lived before, and everywhere I've lived, there's been an adventure. And I've lived in many different areas over the country, throughout the country, over the span of the last several years, decades, I suppose. So they speak differently in different parts of the country, and those that speak English, that have learned English as a second language in different parts of the world, they have learned a British English, and in so relating to people of countries of whose language I don't speak, I want to speak deliberately and slowly, and enunciate clearly so that I can be understood. So that's my thing. Plus, I think that human beings in general are mimics by nature, so that wherever we go, we're going to maybe eventually, you spend enough time in a place, you're going to take on or adopt the maybe accents or mannerisms or aspects of your surroundings. I found that to be the case in raising a family in this area. I live in the midst of Amish territory in Pennsylvania, and there, amidst the Amish population, they speak with a distinctly different accent. Now, of course, I haven't adopted that accent. I suppose I could, or imitate it a little bit. It is different. It does sound different. However, the regional dialect around here, it is different, and I found myself adopting that, and I didn't even know it. I think that I heard it when I started recording again after a couple of years, and I'm listening to tracks, and I hear myself singing, and whereas I'm normally enunciate, very specifically, I found myself sounding like I'm from around here, but no, I'm not. As far as where I'm from, I'm from a variety of different places. I've been raised in southeastern Pennsylvania. When I was, many, many moons ago, I lived in California and Arizona several years each, respectively. I've lived in New York. I've lived in Maryland. I've lived in Germany, in England, and I've been to different places throughout the world as well. So, to visit and whatnot. Just a little history as to where I come from. So I've been jamming in all the various places I've lived and visited as well. Some of the reasons I visited those places was just to jam. Fun stuff. But a few things too. If you're starting out doing this, you've got to understand that a lot of it is there's going to be a lot of rejection. You can be quite clever, quite good, quite skilled guitar-wise, or whatever instrument is, whatever you write with musically, or how that goes, whatever your style is. But you got to understand that there's a lot of other people doing it as well, and the ways to get yourself heard and be unique are very difficult. There are a lot of people out there right now that want to give you a class of some kind to say, like, hey, if you follow my method, listen to what I have to say. They're pushing lessons and hacks and tricks and tips, and I tell you, there's some people out there that I believe that really care and that are very helpful, and I've been grateful to some of the things that I've learned from these people. I think the YouTube's fantastic to that regard, and the little things that you can learn. However, when everything is a blanket approach, and then there's also scammers in the midst, so everybody wants you to join their class, and you don't know who's reputable and who's not, who's cool, who's going to give you the advice that's going to pan out to actual success. And what is that success? That success would be an audience that cares about what you're doing. And that is what every artist is trying to see, what's going to happen. And of course, then you have the artists that are out there that have had that happen and then take it for granted. And I'm always grateful to those that don't, that can make it along the path and still be humble and still realize, that we're all just people, trying to do the same thing. And music is really, it can be very much so a community. And I always loved that aspect of collaboration. Not so much collaboration, but just jamming, right? You get together with other people and you throw in your input into the song as to just what you can do with what you're playing. And I always found a great deal of joy in just letting loose like that. Yeah, and well, of course, trying to do it well and having it sounds nice. That's always the advantageous. I mean, that's all. That's where the fun lies too, in doing something that it sounds good. That's what you want to do. So always practice, of course. That's as an artist, I think that's where it starts. Of course, at your instrument. I'd say several hours a day, at least, 2 to 3 hours on your instrument. Out of that 2 or 3 hours, then I would spend one of those hours trying to brainstorm ideas, whether it be progressions, riffs, or hooks, or concepts, poetic ideas, things of that nature, reviewing old notes of that regard, trying to find correlations of thought in order to put ideas together. See, some songs work out that way, whereas it's all done in one sitting, and then some things take years to work out. Both all of which is fine. There's no rules set in stone. There's that which has worked for people in times past as far as formats, but really, we don't always want to follow, formats, right? We want to go outside of the format and see what happens there. In my estimation, not to be too abstract, but then there's people that really like that too. So I tell my kids, to each their own proclivity. So, what I want to say too, that it's like, so then you can be an artist, and you can play for years and years and have varying levels of success. And then you want to think of it as, well, how do you define success? You can define it as numbers, either numbers in your bank account or numbers on your YouTube or Facebook likes or what have you, and have that be an indication as to a metric as to your success. But I think that's false. I think that if you measure that the success and failure, so to speak, as an artist or a creative person in the form of numbers, it's a false metric. You negate your potential, which is infinite, right? So that doesn't stop. So you want to. Winston Churchill, for example, said, "Success is walking from failure to failure, and with no loss of enthusiasm." I think that's it. Like I said, was started to say in regards to starting out or continuing forth. Don't be discouraged by rejection or negative commentary, or lack of pecuniary success, because it's a matter of the art, right? And that's the real reason why you do it. You do it for the sake of creation of something, as I was saying before, sort of a muse, an energy that flows through you, a creative force. And I should do more research into this aspect. I thought about that. Maybe I will towards next time, into talking about, where does that creative spark come from? That is among a lot. I've heard some reference somewhere in regards to coming from mental illness, which is very encouraging. But perhaps some sort of early trauma. In regards to societal, I don't know. That's the beauty of it too, is that it's sort of like a calling in the creative aspect. I don't know that I had a choice to sit down. How do you have a choice when you have melody running through your head? Is that a form of madness? Don't comment about that, please. No doubt, right? So, I just in regards to the people that are pushing there, I'm not going to push you a music teaching nothing or other. I am, unless like I said, if you happen to be missing your left index finger and you're a right-handed guitar player, I will be glad to do lessons. We can talk about that on a direct message or something like that. And I'm not going to be trying to get you an online seminar or anything like that. I really don't like email lists. People want to try and push that as a form of marketing, but then they want to say, oh no, wait, one-on-one is always best. And I have found that to be the case too. But the thing is, you really cannot... well, I don't know if it's impossible, but can you reach out to hundreds of thousands of people on a personal basis? It would take a very long time to have lunch with that many people. So in that vein, you know, whereas I love the one-on-one interaction. That always is the best when you have that chance to, and and you know, even if it's complete strangers or people that are referred to through friends and whatnot, I always love that too. But that's the organic method. But the people that are offering these like hacks for, you know, playlists or instant things that are going to push you towards immediate growth. If you just do this, oh, you've got to do this, you've got to do this. Oh, you're not doing this, and you need to do this right now. I don't like the urgency in regards to it, because it's always changing, you see. Granted, there are certain things that are steps that should be, as an artist, that you should do when you create a song. Then if you don't know what to do, I mean, I will talk about those sort of things. You know, those aren't like you know, people's opinions in regards to what websites you need to use in order to submit things, in order to increase your popularity on the, you know, on the basis of these things. You know what I do whenever I get emails in that are unsolicited kind of spam things is I delete them and spam them, because I'm not really all part of that. And then maybe you're interested in somebody's thing, you know, one thing or another, and you want to look at it, but they won't let you even look at it unless you give them your email. See, that's a trick, right? Because that way they have your email, and that does not build a personal relationship, because then they will continue to spam you until you buy into their master class. I've never done that, and you know, I guess there are people that do, and that's how it's done. But here's an old trick since before the days of the internet. So an old little business scam back in the days of the newspapers was you put an ad in the newspaper and you say, you can have your own business. Just send me $1 in a self-addressed stamped envelope, and I will send you instructions on how to start your own business. So, oh my goodness, that sounds fantastic. My own business for $1. Self-addressed stamped envelope. Boom. You get the response, and in the response it says, to start your own business, put an ad in the paper and ask people to send you $1 to start your own business. Seems like a paradigm change. But going in the same vein, of course, it's just becoming digital instead of print. And hey, who's to say, too, that people that are offering these results are what they claim to be? You know, maybe they're very rich, and so therefore you want to believe in them because they have that I don't know, I suppose a poise of comfort, and that allows for some allowance of motivation, which definitely has a place. But then there's also other ones out there too that have mere enthusiasm with lack of things that are actually helpful, things that are actually going to push you in a direction that is not just going to be an endless funnel spending money towards an end that never comes to fruition, in things that you could also do in your own right, in order to, like, making sure you copyright your stuff, about like registering it with the Library of Congress. It's very important to do that. You also should register it with a performance rights organization like ASCAP or BMI. ASCAP is the well, you can look that stuff up too. Also, there's different levels of copyright. You want to make sure your mechanical royalties are collected from the various places that they can be collected. Song Trust is a place where you can look to do that. You can also look that sort of thing up. Song Publishing Administration. Also, you would want to look into there's another form of copyright. So you have your performance. Performance can be in different forms as well. So you also want to register all of your works in the form in catalog form, and they'll provide the format for you with Sound Exchange. There are fees associated with that stuff. And this is not me, this is just, the Library of Congress has its own fees, and each rights organization has their own dues or fees. Most of them, like your performance rights, it's like a one-time fee. Same with your publisher administrator, that's a one-time fee as well. However, there are scams. Like I say, be wary. There are people that will try and offer the one-stop solution to solve all your issues and make everything happen for you. I wouldn't necessarily buy it. However, like I say, there are a lot of helpful people out there, and YouTube is full of a lot of really great sources if you can find them. And I have had a lot of inspiration. I have some favorites, and I was going to list them. I don't know, I want to list them, but I will start to talk about them soon. Not this time. I just wrote it down as a bullet point of things that I'm going to talk about. Perhaps it'll be like a little shelf within the show. It seems to be going a little bit longer than I intended. It's been going like 10 minutes before. And this is going a little bit longer. But so I think I've said everything I want to say. I have one of my things that I wanted to try to avoid with this series, and so starting a new series was like the sponsored kind of talk, trying to push other people's products and whatnot, unless I'm requested to do so specifically, and if there's a decent product out there that I could sink my teeth into, so to speak. And I'm not talking about food metaphorically. I'm a creator, okay? A metaphor. But anyway, I'm not really into that, but I am into music. There's a friend of mine out there. I saw an Instagram post this morning. I'm a musician friend, a rapper, producing something that he calls Time and Space. Rapper, he calls himself Cambino. And my son is releasing an album next week, and it's called Time Machine. And then I just completed a song a couple weeks ago, and it's called Space Time. Very strange, like there's something in the air. Yeah, it's a different era right now too, as far as the creative prospects. A good thing that I'm doing as a performer, obviously not being a performer so much right now, is I've been trying to do more performances on YouTube. You can check out the Indie Live stuff that I've done, but there's so many other inspiring people out there that have put out really great things. I've been really encouraged by Paul Simon. He and his wife Iṛᴜᴇ have put out a bunch of things over the course of the last few months. Just wonderful things. It's just really wonderful to hear. So I'm really thankful about that. Andrew Byrd is another guy. He's fairly popular these days. Another one of my favorites. Just really grateful to him and his efforts and the things that he's been putting out on the various socials, including I think he has stuff on YouTube. He does a lot of things on Facebook and Instagram. He has a paradigm that's very encouraging too towards musicians too, as far as if you're seeking to do something in this day and age where our income streams are a little bit, restricted as a result of the performance thing, the live performance online can be an avenue, in the way towards, putting together a live show that you sell tickets to. Now that only works out if you have a good audience together already, which is, personally, I think a wonderful thing. And I wish him the greatest success in that endeavor continued. And there's a lot of other artists out there that I could mention. I just that's just off the top of my head, that have been inspirational and motivational. There really are so many others, and that's just music. As far as motivational people out there, I would like to say thank you to those ones out there too. Again, I'll go into more of the YouTube inspiration. I'm grateful to be able to be doing this right now too. Hey, and thanks for checking out the series. This has been the Ye Old Indie Dude episode 3. Not named yet. We'll see how we'll see what I can come up with as a name. I've covered so many darn things. And I'll talk to you next time. Thanks. Hey, make sure, and I never say this, please subscribe. And tell people, because I need more subscribers, I think. If you like it, please put a like on there too. See that I'm starting to sound like people from around here. That's that whenever I hear myself starting to enunciate in that fashion, I want to stop immediately and think people aren't going to understand me, so I'll have to stop and talk more slowly and less like a local yokel. So again, thank you. And